St. Patrick's Day, and live here backstage at the Hammerstein Ballroom in New York City for Inhaler from Dublin, Ireland, all the way here on St. Paddy's Day. Let me get this right. Eli, Ryan, Josh, and Rob. Thank you so much for doing this, guys.
Pleasure. Thank you.
You guys have been a band, honestly, since, well, three of you guys, since you were kids, and you met Josh along the way. What was the turning point? You mentioned in an interview that Josh kind of changed it up for you guys. Was it maturity, or was it just kind of you guys decided then to take it seriously?
It was definitely not maturity, but I would say probably musicianship kind of became a thing. Even though, like, obviously, you don't have to be skilled to be a good musician, but I think Josh's discipline definitely rubbed off on us. Yeah.
Well, because I was curious, because you guys had kind of been a band for a little bit. I heard that you were doing covers and stuff. So Josh came along. How many names did you go through before you came up to Inhaler? What were some of the other names?
Too many. We can't mention them.
Yeah.
They were so damningly bad. It's embarrassing.
When did you know this was the one, though? You were going to go with this? Like, you kind of committed to being Inhaler?
Just sounded cool. Oh, yeah. We did a battle of the bands, and one of the categories that you could win was best name, and we won best name. And who was the judge again? It was the guy from Divine Comedy, wasn't it? Yeah, he was one of the judges of this thing. It was this tiny little battle of the bands we did in Dublin in a venue called the Grand Social. And so we didn't win best players or best song, but best name, yeah.
Now, flash forward here, 2023, you're already now 2 albums in. Congratulations on Cuts and Bruises.
Thank you.
This was an interesting record. This is like a rocket ship for you guys in the past 15 months. So is this kind of, there's such a quick turnaround. What was the idea behind that, kind of capitalize on the success of the first record?
Yeah, roughly, we just wanted to kind of keep doing what we've been doing and continue on from like where we left off. But we wanted to put less in the album, less sounds and stuff, and wanted to feel a bit more pure and clear, and just wanted to get better at writing songs, and I think we achieved that.
What was it like? You guys initially, I think, started this record, I think in late 2021, with, I think you guys watched the Get Back documentary is what I read, and that kind of taught you some things before you went into the nunnery to record, or at least write this record. What did you learn from the Beatles, from watching that?
Everything, really. I think the main thing was just, I think the fact that so much of music these days is done separated from each other, and you put down your part and then you lay down another thing, and that's okay for recording and stuff, but even that's being done for writing as well, where we're not really in the same room together. And we used to, like, when we were teenagers, that's what our DNA is. We just used to play all day together, like 5 days a week, 8 days a week even, and basically just have that kind of chemistry be what we are. And I think we kind of missed that on the first record because of the pandemic and everything. It was really hard to get in together, and so we just wanted to have a laugh and do that on the second record, and it actually worked out really well.
How did you find the nunnery and that place to kind of become such a creative space?
We kind of lucked out with it, really. It's been left, and we're looking after it. We don't by any means like own it or anything like that, but we're looking after it until it kind of gets moved on, and we pay a little bit of rent and just try and keep the lights on.
I've seen the video of the kind of a tour of it where there's art everywhere. It just looks like such a creative space for you guys, where you can almost do whatever you wanted to at the time. Do you guys all paint and draw?
We all have the ability to. Myself and Eli kind of like moved a bunch of paint gear into one of the little rooms in that building and stuff, but we all have something in each of us. Yeah, Rob liked to say that he had a good go at finger painting.
Well, who does the drawing? I saw on your Instagram stories the Philly thing, which was awesome, by the way, with the Rocky. You better do it. It's you. Wow, that's awesome.
I'm doing the drum skins on this tour. Let's try and make a little bit of bob.
It looks great, though, but that's and I'd imagine that has to inspire you as you're writing this record in that place. I know that there's we'll get to the Sopranos in a second because I saw that, but so all right, so where did you record this record? Because I think you wrote it there, and then
we recorded it in London in Narcissus Studios, which was the same studio we did the first record in, but we did quite a lot of writing for it, like on tour, on the bus, or in sound checks, or a bit in the nunnery in our rehearsal spot. But a lot of the songs were kind of written in the studio, jamming on the spot, spending hours and hours around one idea until something finally clicked. And then there'd be other things that we would spend days on, which then just went into the bin in the end, just couldn't unlock it.
You guys have known each other for a while. What is the creative process like? Eli thinks this thing and Ryan thinks another, or Josh thinks it and Rob. What is that like? How do you kind of solve those situations and not hurt the friendship and not hurt the band?
I think that's probably what this record is trying to find out. I think we're definitely trying to figure that out still. I mean, has anybody ever figured that out? I don't know. I think it's just that eternal kind of question that you kind of have with each other. It's just like, how do we work at something and still stay friends? But we're doing a pretty good job of it so far. I think playing the music live really lets like a lot of like tension get released for us. But the studio can be hard work. We usually just pull straws out of hats or something.
One of the things about touring live, and I read something where you talked about the simplicity of the band in a way. It's not this huge stage show of 1975 or other things like that. That's clearly by design. How did you kind of, as you're back on the road for this tour, what's different about this time around than the first time?
Got a bunch of new songs. So I guess, yeah, you're right in saying that we are kind of basing, at the moment we're still at the stage where we feel like we're basing our performances around the songs. Yeah. And I think that's where we've been having discussions as to how we can push the other elements of the show, like the stage design and even like moving backgrounds, all this kind of stuff, that we're just like looking ahead and trying to see how we can incorporate that into our own thing. But yeah, for us it is about kind of like the band, and kind of it's a very much a band vibe of just getting up and playing songs. So we want to keep that, but also don't want it to be stale.
Well, I think you're building a base of fans, and I passed all of them on the street outside, which was cool to see. And as you guys build that, you can grow, and it sounds like you guys are all artists in some level, or they're creating a stage show has to be kind of a goal down the road. Who did the video for Love Will Get You There, which is one of the most creative things I've seen. Now, I'm older, so I like the nostalgia of the 80s and the 90s. Whose idea was that? And like that would be a lot of fun to do.
That was actually, it was all kind of James Arden's idea, a game show,
X Factor thing.
Oh yeah.
So we had like an original idea, which wasn't like, it didn't really end up being that similar to what we came out with, which often happens, where you aim for one thing and you don't get it. But it was when we were in what festival was it? It was like Truck Festival or something. Yeah. And our producer and a good friend of ours, Douglas Hart, was they were at the festival, and we had just kind of, I think Anne came with the idea of like all these like crazy dances with the song, and we were watching people dance and playing the song over just YouTube videos, and then that kind of sparked the idea of what if we did like a kind of X Factor kind of game show kind of thing where we were the judges. And that was the initial idea, and then when we went to James Arden, we kind of then changed it and shaped it into what that video turned out to be, which was fun. Yeah.
Nice. Well, the record's getting some great reviews. Cuts and Bruises, their second, is out now, and they're here at the Hammerstein Ballroom for a show tonight on St. Patrick's Day. Curious, are you, obviously, when do you write? Is it kind of still while you're on tour? Are you planning the next record, I'd imagine?
Anywhere you get the time, really, I think, yeah. It's difficult to find the time. I think whenever we're in the room together or on a stage or all have instruments in our hands, there's usually something that comes out. It may not be a fully fledged song, but it's stuff that we can kind of use later. I don't know, we're kind of like hoarders of ideas, and we just have like a big collection of little things that we remember. Like even yesterday we were playing songs that we haven't played since we were like 16, just on the stage. We were like, oh, do you remember this one? Some of it's really good though. And so yeah, we're just kind of, whenever we can, we kind of just take a stab at it.
Is there a producer you want to work with in the future, or you're thinking ahead, or do you guys want to kind of always kind of control some of that? And
I don't know. I mean, I think
so many different interests that we all have.
We're kind of still sketching out what we want to do for the next record, but I think we'd love to kind of demo some stuff ourselves and get into a creative space together again, just the four of us, and do some of that, because there are ideas that are hanging around now that we'd like to see through.
Coming from Dublin, and there's a base of all different types of music and art, what inspires you lately? What new artists are inspiring you?
Oh, there's a great band from Ireland called New Dad, who are really nice people, and they've got like this sort of like shoegazy dream pop sound to them that's going on. I think Dublin at the minute is like quite an inspiring place to come from, because I think at the minute there's a lot of dissatisfaction, certainly around like people our age, with like the place that it's become, and people want to kind of branch out. And during the pandemic, a lot of people who weren't doing music before are now pursuing it, which is pretty cool. Our friend Lucy McWilliams also is a great singer-songwriter. Yeah, it's just, I don't know what is going on. We kind of keep saying it's probably the weather that creates all the good music that comes from anywhere.
Well, congratulations on the record. Last two questions. First, I got to go back to The Sopranos because I'm curious the influence of growing up in Ireland and American culture, and obviously here in New York and you're New Jersey and everything. Well, first off, favorite Sopranos episodes, and what inspired you to draw that for the nunnery?
I don't know. It was just a nice frame. I was like, I like that. And then,
was it Father Phil and Carmela? Or?
yeah, it was. It's
All right.
that scene where she's crying to him. Yeah. And I've only watched it through like 1.5.
All right, I don't want to spoil it, but wait till the Ralphie episode. Season 3 is very good.
Season 3 is amazing.
Yes.
What is the episode? I did finish it.
Okay, all right,
I've gone one time.
All right, okay, all right.
I'm going another half.
Finished it. What's wrong with you?
Yeah. What's the episode where they're lost in the woods?
Yes. God, you're right.
That is one of the greatest.
And Buscemi directed it, I think.
Yeah.
And that's, yes. With,
He said he was an interior decorator.
and final question, but I have to ask, how bad was it the day after U2 put their album on everyone's iPhone?
Everyone would just keep playing that album to piss us off. It was just like, I think they didn't... iCloud was a very new thing at the time, and people didn't really understand it.
My dad to this day still has it shows up in his shuffle when he plays songs, and I'm like, why do you have the Ballad of Joey Ramone on there?
You can delete it now.
It was pretty bizarre experience, I think, for everybody involved.
Well, that was my conversation backstage before their show on St. Patrick's Day. The band Inhaler. Eli, Rob, Josh, and Ryan, thank you so much for sitting down with me. That was a lot of fun and getting to know them a bit, and look forward to their future efforts as well. And of course, the album Cuts and Bruises, their sophomore effort, is in the EHM New Music bin.